My dear podcast watcher, today is your lucky day. You ask, why? That is indeed a good question. What you are going to see and hear on the topic below will transform you to be an excellent sales professional. Period. The topic in question is none other than the latest principles of an ever dynamic win-win sales negotiations that you must master now or never. Don't believe. You just have to keep watching. Then you will fully agree with me. Serious. Jokes aside. This is my ironclad guarantee to you. Is it okay or not? In fact, it is the whole truth but nothing but the truth. Before saying another word, may I have the pleasure to introduce myself as Madam Roberto, an AI avatar, programmed by CTM Joseph NG, the e-sales and e-marketing expert. His biodata, his company and his free ebook will be presented by my colleague, Madam Sophia, AI avatar created by CTM Joseph. Enough of my talking and without further ado, let us roll it. Shall we? Thanks. Even as we are speaking, do believe me that sales negotiation is a critical skill in the business world, involving the process of reaching a mutually beneficial agreement between a buyer and a seller. Here are some key principles to consider seriously. Yes. For starters, we will talk only in details about the 7 key principles critical for a successful sales negotiation. Can I get a big yes from you? We truly hope you can. As said, there are 7 key principles of sales negotiation strategy. Of course, there are others, but for now we will zero in on just 7 for the moment. Any objections to that? If none, then let us carry on. In passing, we shall briefly talk about only the 7 keys principles. They are 1. Preparation, 2. Building relationships, 3. Value creation, 4. Effective communication, 5. Flexibility, 6. Closing techniques, and finally 7. Post-negotiation reflection. Are you still following me? That said, now let us examine in detail each key principle separately. Is it all right with you? Here is the first key principle. It is none other than Principles 1. Preparation. To be crystal clear, sales professionals must understand their product, market, and competition. Moreover, they must know the goals and the minimum acceptable terms. In truth, there is a urgent need to research the other parties' interests and potential objections. All right. The next key principle we must tell you is Principles 2. Building relationships. If truth is be told, the seller must always establish rapport and trust with the other party. Not only that, sales professionals must listen actively to understand their prospective clients. Furthermore, it is imperative for the salesperson to foster a collaborative atmosphere rather than a confrontational one. Get my drift? The next principle that we must also be considered seriously, which is Principles 3. Value creation. It is no rocket science that salesman or saleswoman must concentrate or focus well on creating value for both parties. Additionally, not only be thankful for your product or service's value, the salesperson, he or she must take concerted efforts to identify mutual interests and explore options that benefit both sides. Hence, is it asking too much from the sales professional? Believe me, the next principle is just as important than the previous ones. Principles 4. Effective communication. It goes without saying, you or your sales personnel must be clear and concise in their communication. In my personal view, it is good to use open-ended questions to encourage dialogue. In this regard, it is important to give undivided attention to nonverbal cues and body language. Don't that make good sense? This brings yet another principle that require you to explore and adjust. All right. Principles 5. Flexibility and adaptability. Here is the thing. Sales professionals must always be willing to adjust their approach based on the flow of the negotiation. It is no-brainer for any great sales negotiator to follow through. Also, not forgetting to seriously consider alternative solutions that may satisfy both parties. Get my drift? The last but one is really an indispensable principle that must be said at all RR11 cost. True. Jokes aside. Principles 6. Closing techniques. As you can see, its importance lies in the fact that salespeople should recognize exactly when to close the deal and how to do it effectively. Believe me, trial closes to gauge readiness and address any remaining concerns. You get the idea. I bet you do. The final principle is the last but not the least. Principles 7. Post-negotiation reflection. You better believes me that after the negotiation, smart sales negotiator must reflect on what went well and what could be improved. For the long haul, the sales personnel should remember that it is always a good thing to maintain the relationship for future opportunities, to say the least. Now that we have fully examined each key principle, let us conclude with a big bang. Is it all right with you? Conclusion. Therefore, to conclude in a neat nutshell for this week's podcast on the subject of the latest principles of an ever-dynamic win-win sales negotiations that you must master now or never. On this topic, I am sure many sales negotiators will also fully agree with on what you just saw and read in this podcast. If you do, please give me just a thumbs up. Okay. Similarly, I must declare in my personal capacity, both in theory and in the marketplace, that by applying faithfully these key principles will benefit all but not just only one person. And benefits beyond measures. Yes, you have read it right. It is not a misprint. With these principles, any right-minded sales professionals can and will certainly enhance their negotiation skills. In fact, these principles will result in more successful outcomes and stronger business relationships. Would you agree to that? Quite a mouthful, I must say. At this juncture, do I need to speak more? I guess not. Just before saying goodbye, may I remind you to continue reading and watching the biodata of CTM Joseph, his company, and his offer of a free ebook. This is shown at the end of this podcast. Okay or not? Hence, until we meet again, do allow me, CTM Joseph and my college Sophia, bid you a fond goodbye. Alright. Thanks a million. May God bless you richly. Hello. My name is Madam Sophia, an AI avatar developed by CTM Joseph. I am deeply honored to be able to present CTM Joseph Ng's biodata and his company. That said, let's roll it. Okay. Thanks. Presenting biodata of CTM Joseph NG and his company. CTM Joseph SFNG now is the senior partner of a Malaysian company which focuses on helping others. And with regards to marketing companies and its employees' self and care growth, particularly in area of sales and marketing. Apart from that, CTM acted as a consultant for a few companies. Additionally, he is a local motivational sales speaker who addressed more than 5,000 people through his dozens of talks and training across many states in east and west of Malaysia. He is happily married to Margaret NG and has 3 children. But that is not how he started. In the beginning, Joseph faced a lot of hardships and problems before he reaches the pinnacle of success. Now let us hear his story. Being a high school certificate holder, he had a very rough start from an early age. He had to sell to consumers from door to door on a part-time basis to supplement his low income. Continuing his work as a clerk, Joseph also managed to travel a lot in that period, exposing himself in the art and science of selling. At same time, he graduated from 3 countries professional degrees in business admiration, Australia, and marketing, UK. Subsequently, he did qualified as accomplished speaker from Toastmaster International, US, with a competent Toastmasters CTM certification. He acquired valuable knowledge from internationally successful salespeople and applying them regularly. Hence, his sales skills and marketing improved remarkably. And at the end of his second stint being employed, he excelled as a sales and marketing manager for others. Having improved in these environment, Joseph NG became a marketing manager handling a team of 15 salespeople under him. Then, he was 45 years old. After mastering the art of sales, Joseph moved on to work on some bigger projects like sales and marketing, business assignments for many reputable organizations. He continued with his hard work, and as a result, Joseph performed well in every industry he set his eyes on. But he did not stop here. After trying various success and productivity systems, Joseph Ng decided to launch his own partnership company to train business individuals and organizations in sales and marketing. For the same reason, this led to the birth of Messrs. Joseph Ng and Associates, training and marketing organization in Malaysia. Joseph Ng wrote over 4 books, articles and blogs on various topics like sales, business, self-growth, sales productivity, and much more. Most of them are filled with all the sales and marketing knowledge and experience that Joseph gained in his working life. Joseph wrote about the laws of sales success in his books that he uses in his journey, that both you and I can also use and become successful like him and create marketing history. End.
Hi, I am CTM Joseph Ng. Glad that you downloaded this podcast. You just watched the intro by Madam Sophia, the AI developed by me. Here is good news. You're entitled to my free ebook, The Giant 7 Steps to Great Selling. Contact me WhatsApp 6012-3878-592 or email me at josephsfng@gmail.com. Thanks.